The following is an original A-Livin' podcast.
Well, once again, this is yet another site that I guess, you know, is happening, or really something else that you might be potentially hearing. I am alone. I'm alone once again. No panelists with me, because yesterday, at the time that I'm recording this, the day before, May 8th, I got home from work. I just really wasn't feeling up to recording, and I was going through just like a little episode at that point, and just I wasn't sure how to necessarily deal with it, other than just talking and venting, and it didn't matter how many people were listening. So, but anyways, everything's okay for the most part, and we're ready to get this episode done and underway. So, Kansas apparently was a weekend that beat out the overly hyped F1 events over in Miami, which didn't think that was going to happen. I never really was thinking about it at all. I didn't even know that F1 was going to Miami. That's how much I don't really pay attention to F1. But as far as the truck race goes, didn't really watch a whole lot of it. I really couldn't anyway, since, the truck series is on cable networking. But Grant Enfinger ended up taking home the victory, and the results goes as follows. Of course, Grant Enfinger the winner, Corey Heim second, Zane Smith third, Stuart Friesen fourth, Ross Chastain fifth, Nicholas Sanchez sixth, Kyle Busch seventh, Jake Garcia coming home in the eighth position, ninth Taylor Gray, and Tyler Ankrum rounding out the top 10. Matt Crafton finishing in 11th, Haley Deegan, once again, yet another good run for her. Then we have Daniel Dye, Brett Holmes, Tony Breedinger. I do apologize if I am mispronouncing her last name. Ben Rhodes, Lawless Allen, Tanner Gray, Johnny Sauter, and Brendan Poole coming home inside of the top 20. From 21st down to 30th, that goes as follows. Nick Leitz, Tyler Hill, Justin S. Carroll, which, speaking of him, great run for him. I saw his post where he ended up starting 32nd and ended up coming home 23rd. Brought the truck home in one piece. Good for him. Josh Rayome, Ty Majeski, Spencer Boyd, Mason Maggio, Chris Wright, Matt DiBenedetto, and Christian Eckes all coming home inside of the top 30. And then our final 6 finishers goes as follows. Carson Hocevar, Dean Thompson, Chase Purdy, Raja Caruth, Colby Howard, and Tim Veens, who went out of the race on lap number 2 due to transmission issues. Now, for the Cup race, this is one I actually have seen highlights for. Cup race, from the looks of things, was actually pretty entertaining. Of course, lap 6, Kyle Larson ended up getting turned off the bumper of Tyler Reddick, who was also trying to block Ross Chastain. It was like a block on another person who was trying to put a block on another person just went wrong for the guy that was trying to put a block on the person that was putting the block on the other person, if that makes sense. That's a lot to keep up with. But Larson ended up going around, but he didn't hit anything, so he kept going as if nothing happened. But there was just lots and lots of racing. It came down to eventually Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson, who was right back up in front, right where he was initially at the start of the race, and they raced hard. And Hamlin ended up basically getting into the back of Larson, getting him loose and putting him into the outside wall. Larson did keep going en route for a runner-up finish right where he started, and Denny Hamlin went on to take the victory. He only led 34 laps up until that point. And in my opinion, with that move that Hamlin made, it's a move that has been made in racing for a long, long time. I just don't think those are types of moves that you should be making with this car, especially with the safety concerns that everybody is so aware about, especially the drivers. But, I mean, it's racing. I digress eventually. My apologies. Sorry. So anyways, our finishing results goes as follows. Of course, Denny Hamlin the winner, Kyle Larson second, William Byron taking home the third position after starting on the pole, Bubba Wallace coming home in fourth. Good run for him. Ross Chastain finishing in the fifth position. We'll get to him in a second. Joey Logano in sixth, Chase Elliott seventh, Martin Truex Jr. eighth, Tyler Reddick ninth, and Austin Dillon rounding out the top 10. From positions 11th through 20th, they go as follows in this order. Kevin Harvick, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who ended up starting 33rd, came home 12th. Not bad for him. Then it's Eric Almirola, AJ Allmendinger, Daniel Suarez, Ryan Blaney, Chris Buescher, Justin Haley, Brad Keselowski, and Corey LaJoie coming home inside of the top 20. And then from 21st down to 30th, Eric Jones, Ty Dillon. Thank the Lord, he got a good run. J.J. Yaley, Todd Gilliland, Josh Berry, Michael McDowell, Ryan Preece, Brendan Poole, Noah Gragson, and Harrison Burton all coming home inside of the top 30. And then from 31st down to 36th, they go as follows. Austin Cindric, Chase Briscoe, Josh Bilicki, Ty Gibbs, Kyle Busch, and Christopher Bell, who went out of the race on lap 157 due to an accident. It's surprising to me, not terribly surprising to me, but it's amazing to me of how long we've gone without a retiree all the way up until lap 157. Unfortunately, with Christopher Bell biting the nail with his accident. But still, nonetheless, it sounds like we had a pretty good Kansas weekend. Now, let's talk about the Ross Chastain Noah Gragson incident. Of course, with with everything that's been going on with Ross and his infamous history of racing very, very aggressively and just apologizing like, "Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'll change my race. I'll change my race and how I race other people. All that BS." And he goes out and he does it again. And then things just boiled over up until this particular point. Chastain and Noah Gragson, of course, were racing pretty hard. Gragson ended up dooring Ross. I think this was like literally probably about a second after Ross almost put Noah Gragson into the wall and into the turn 4 wall, and all those emotions boiled over in the pits when Gragson went to go confront Ross about this type of racing behavior. And of course, Gragson grabs Ross's fire suit. Ross says, "Hey, stop. He was standing his ground, and he warned him, "Hey, don't do that. You better stop." He just right hands him, like literally right hands him, so so hard you could hear the punch connect on Gragson's face. Of course, that just led to a big old fight in the pits. Of course, I'm looking at the photo right now with Joey. He's just watching as he's just opening up his bottle of Coke, get ready to take a sip. Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. But, of course, they both had different points of views. I mean, Gragson said, hey, if nobody's really standing up to him, nobody's really pulling him to the side or doing all this other stuff to just get the point across. It's like, hey, stop racing like this, or hey, stop taking people out or whatnot. And it's, I understand Noah's side of things, but on the flip side of the coin, this is what makes the sport interesting. Like the way Ross races, the way he's more of and leans towards the aggressive side, and just races as hard as he possibly can. He pushes the car that he drives to the absolute limit, and I think I think that's a type of personality that Ross has, or really the type of style of racing that Ross has, that we absolutely need desperately in the sport. Because yes, it's great to have sportsmanship, but it's also great to have really hard pedal to the metal Rubbins racing kind of stuff. I feel we need more of that. That's why I feel that's what the sport is lacking a lot of. Not to say that the racing is piss poor. It's not. It's great. It's just I feel like we need more of that aggression, more of that bumping and banging, and more contact style wheel to wheel racing that we've been lacking for so long. That's just how I feel about it personally. But nonetheless, this whole thing is behind us, and well, or is it? Or is it just a new rivalry that is just getting started? We're going to have to find out for ourselves. So, to get down into a couple of the breaking stories that we have, there are actually a couple of them. First of all, Legacy Motor Club with a shocking announcement that they will be moving to supplying Toyotas in 2024. So the 42, the 43, and the 84, that is if Johnson will race more, have more starts next year in the Cup Series, will all be driving Toyotas. This is the first time that we are actually going to be seeing this, especially out of, just like the 42 and the 43 especially, because, those are petty numbers. The petty, of course, has run like manufacturers such as Ford, Pontiacs, Chevrolet, Dodge, and now here we are. They're getting ready to run Toyotas next year. They will be fielding Toyotas, and I don't know if this is going to be more of we're looking for more of that advantage kind of deal. We're looking to, kind of get a little bit ballsy with this call. Because to me, I feel like they're good right where they are with Chevrolet. It's not that, I'm used to seeing them as a Chevrolet team. I'm saying that because, Chevy has really has really been on the ball this year, especially with the amount of success that they've had this year. They have had they've had 5 consecutive wins to start off the season, if I'm correct. 4 or 5 consecutive wins to start off the year. Eric Jones ended up winning a Southern 500 in a number 43 Chevy. There's a lot of things that there's just quite a few things that we just, it's like Toyota though. That's interesting. It's very, very interesting to me. I don't know if this is going to be the right move for next year, but that is a long ways away from now. So we're just going to have to wait and see. Now, for our second batch of news, Rick Ware Racing has announced for beginning at this coming race weekend at Darlington, that a familiar face will be coming back to drive the number 51 in select races this year. And his name is Ryan Newman. Yes, Newman, as of May 5th, when Bob Puckris had put out this tweet, had announced that Ryan Newman has signed on for select races with Rick Ware Racing to drive the 51. And I am very happy to see this. I'm very excited to see Ryan Newman back. Of course, he has voiced his concerns about the car. It's just saying, it's not safe. And it's not safe, at these other bigger tracks like NASCAR has said that it is, it's there's quite a few things that NASCAR needs to work on with this car. Just kind of like of how we were talking about with, how we felt about the safety of this thing. But Newman was very, very vocal on that as well. He also had said, if it's fun, I'll keep doing this. If not, then I'm out. He was very, very adamant, that he was not going to stick around, even if this wasn't going to be fun anymore for him. And the team pretty much felt the same way. But we'll see what happens. We will see what happens at Darlington. But speaking of that, let's go ahead and preview the weekend. All 3 series are here. Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. They're all here. Of course, Darlington being throwback weekend, we expect some chaos here and there. Of course, we expect some good hard racing. Darlington Stripes, got to watch out for that. And yeah, that's really what we should be expecting at Darlington. So here we go for predictions. Of course, for those that don't know, in case you're brand new to the show, here's how we do our predictions. We give you a driver who we think is going to win. Pretty self-explanatory. Driver to stay away from is the guy that hasn't been doing well the last couple of weeks, or we're just coming up to a track where they suck at. The dark horse is the exact opposite. But we're getting ready to have ourselves a great weekend this coming weekend at Darlington. So let's get into it. Of course, my driver to win for the Truck Series at Darlington. Me personally, I think I'm going to have to keep my eyes on... Man, this is usually kind of tough, but I'm going to say Ben Rose is the driver to win. He has won at Darlington in the past, and I feel like he could definitely repeat some history this year. Driver to stay away from. He might have done well. He may have done well this past weekend in Kansas. I'm not sure if it's going to translate over to Darlington, though. Jake Garcia is going to be my driver to stay away from. And then my dark horse. Dark horse is going to be Grant Enfinger. Pretty easily, he's going to be Grant Enfinger. Now for the Xfinity side. Driver to win. Oh boy, let's see who's all in here first. Of course, Kyle Larson is here, as announced previously. As far as Cup drivers are concerned, Ross is in here. Man, as far as my driver to win for the Xfinity Series, I personally may say John Hunter Nemechek as my driver to win. Kind of a safe pick, He has won at Darlington in the past, especially last year in trucks. Even when people still kind of remember the infamous beer can almost hitting him during his front stretch interview, which I feel like front stretch interviews should be completely abolished. Driver to stay away from. This is also kind of tough. I'm personally leaning a little bit towards Daniel Hemrick, and I'm not 100% sure why. I just feel like that he hasn't been performing up to par this year, kind of similar to last year. Don't get me wrong, he'll still have some good runs here and there. I just don't think it's just going to translate at Darlington, unfortunately. I just don't think that's going to happen. But my dark horse is going to be Sammy Smith. I feel like if he could pull, I don't think he'll pull off something that Chase Elliott did almost 10 years ago by winning Darlington in his first try. But if he does, that'd be something. But I think he'll do pretty well. He'll do pretty well at Darlington. Now for the Cup side, it's time for our main event, the Goodyear 400 at Darlington. Throwback weekend. I already said that. But anyways, driver to win. Me personally, I think I'm going to have to keep my eyes on, as a driver to win. He came close last year. I think he's going to do it this year. It's William Byron. Byron is personally going to be my driver to win. My driver to stay away from. Driver to stay away from. This is also going to be pretty tough for me personally. I think I'm going to probably say Ty Gibbs as my driver to stay away from. And then my dark horse, get ready for this one. Get ready for this one. My dark horse is going to be Josh Berry. Don't tell me you didn't expect me to pick Josh Berry as a dark horse, because of course Josh Berry has shown speed at a place like Darlington before. I feel like history could definitely repeat itself, especially on the Cup side. So, it'll be very interesting to see, but for sure, Josh Berry will be my dark horse. All right, so now that we've talked about everything we could, now that we've gotten all of our predictions out of the way, our final thoughts is, it's Darlington. It's throwback weekend. Let's get it all underway. I do apologize, though, that this episode, of course, was very short. That it was just me. Usually when I come home from work, I'm just usually exhausted and just need a little bit to kind of just rest up and whatnot. It just wasn't the case like last night. I just really, really was not up to it. But next week is going to be a little bit different. Next week, of course, I will be doing this again, of course, reviewing Darlington with Wyatt and Nathan. That just depends on if Nathan will be there, because usually he's pretty. I think he did say he was going to go on like a 2-week vacation or something. I think that's what he said. I don't know if he's going to do it next week or the week before the next, but nonetheless, if he's here, he's here. If he's not, he's not. I can't 100% remember what he said. But anyways, that's going to do it. Thank you guys a lot for watching or listening. If you guys like this, be sure to give it a like. And if you have not considered subscribe yet, recommend you do so to keep up with some fine content coming out in the near future. If you're listening to this on Spotify, be sure to hit that green follow button so you don't miss a future audio replay of each GTN episode. And that pretty much is going to do it. I'm Elijah Leonard signing out. And I'll see you in the next one.